Good morning. Today we're going to be covering some tips for you to help you sleep better. If you're thinking about something that you always have to invest in, now's your time. You can do something for free. Stay tuned.
Good morning, I'm Javier.
And I'm Gretchen.
And this is Good Mornings with Sleep Well. And today is a beautiful day. I always start off with the mornings.
Yes, you do.
I know. You start off now. What's going on in your life?
I'm here.
Coffee hasn't kicked in yet, so that's our issue.
It hasn't. Matter of fact, and I'm drinking water to top it off. I need to be this one right now. If I was this one right now, I'd be like, lasso out, whoosh, ready to just conquer it all. Let's go. Wear my cuffs. That's Wonder Woman.
Anyways, all right. So anyways, I think I'll go back to me introducing the day. So it is a beautiful day.
In the neighborhood.
Yeah. Gretchen has been in Carlsbad, and right now Kenny is in Carlsbad, and we've got some big, beautiful renovations going on in that building. Not going to spoil it, but when you're in the Carlsbad building, and I would say 3-4 weeks, you're going to be blown away. There's a lot of beautiful things going on over there.
And that's probably why I'm a little weird, because the reno, oh my gosh, I feel so empowered. They gave me a hammer.
Oh gosh.
I got to break things.
They trusted you?
At first, waiters was like, nope. And then he was like, okay, go ahead. And then they were like, yeah. So yeah, they didn't know I had that in me. Give me a hammer and watch.
So with her and Kenny being gone, I was at the store yesterday and I had nothing to do with this reno, and frankly, it's scaring me now. All right. So anyways,
it's gonna be pretty.
Oh yeah, no, it is going to be beautiful. I can't wait for you guys to see it. We've had a pretty exciting week. We've spoken to a huge furniture manufacturer that is we have signed with them as being our flagship. We also are in negotiations with a couple of other changes that you'll see around the store. For me, I'm loving this because June is going to be our new item month. And I know a couple of you have seen our new item videos, but Gretchen's going to be super busy doing new item videos here pretty quick.
Yes. Matter of fact, I've been writing out a book. Well, we have our book of product, and I create every item that we actually bring in as far as mattress furniture lines and stuff, and try to give, the brief important points on it and stuff. And I completed the mattress stuff, and now I'm working on the other avenues. So I can't wait. It's going to be fun.
Yep. It's all part of the way that we do business, and that's by training constantly and learning about our products. So yeah. And then let's see, what else do we have going on? We have, renovation. We have the new stuff coming. There was something else big that's happening. Now we have Gavin, her son, who's doing morning work for us here, and he's doing pretty good. I guess that's it for the highlights of the week, which is actually kind of a boring. Oh, that's sad now that I think about it.
Being that it's been so busy, I would say those are good highlights. We have really been busy. And I know Memorial Weekend that just passed and everything was like, it really wasn't like a high for a lot of the business avenues, but I think it's honestly because people are really working harder now and they're wanting that time away. I think they hit vacation mode, like as soon as Memorial Weekend hit, they were like gone. That's
a fair thought. It is. It's a fair thought. Yeah. I think that honestly, we're hearing good news from everybody as far as like Memorial Day sales being good. So yeah. But anyways, so on to today's topic, and today's topic is actually something that's going to help you out tonight. So it's not something that you have to invest in for the future or whatever. It's something you can do today for tonight. So the topic today is 3 things you can do today that will help you sleep better tonight. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And it's only 3, and we picked 3 that are the 3 biggest ones. So you wanna start us off with that?
All right. Well, being that I'm actually needing more of this right now, it's kind of good for me to say caffeine. Whoa.
Right. So limit caffeine intake. Right.
Yes.
Okay. What's number 2?
Number 2 would be you shouldn't eat about 2 or 3 hours prior to going to bed.
Right. And that is something that we both struggle with, and yeah, it's unfortunate, but okay. And number 3 is?
Exercise.
All right. So there's 2 avenues with the exercise, and we'll cover that as well. All right, so the first thing that we're going to cover today is limit caffeine intake.
Yes.
And I know you study this because we tease you so much about your energy drinks. What's the deal? What's the deal with limiting caffeine intake?
If you have caffeine in your system at the time you try to go to sleep, even if you feel tired, your brain is not going to rest. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, you have to limit the amount of caffeine you have throughout the day to make sure that your body burns it, as well as a time limit prior to going to bed. And you want to have an adequate amount of time. What is it, 6 hours?
About 6 hours, right.
Before you go to bed. That way you're able to actually rest your brain.
So a lot of people, and I know we've covered this in another video, but a lot of people say, oh, caffeine won't affect me. I can drink a cup of coffee right up until I go to sleep. And that actually is not a very good thing. Why?
Well, the fact is when your mind is still going and your body is asleep, you're not getting the deep sleep that you require. Your brain is still active, and it needs to rest so it can go into the realms it needs to process and clean and everything else. Right.
Yeah, caffeine actually prevents you from going into deep sleep. And caffeine, like she said, it will affect you 6 hours. 6 hours, depending on your metabolism. The least amount of time that they've ever clocked caffeine helping someone is 4 hours. So take that into consideration, whether you think you're a caffeine pro or whatever. 4 hours is the minimum that they've ever found somebody to have metabolized caffeine. 6 hours is the average that the metabolism takes the caffeine and processes it. So yeah. So okay, so what's a tip that we can give everybody for today?
For today, calculate 6 hours before you normally go to bed and just stop your caffeine intake. And that can be in foods as well. You'd always think like coffee, energy drinks, or soda. Well, there's also caffeine in chocolate, amongst other foods. So you really need to pay attention to what it is you're eating. 6 hours per.
Caffeine in chocolate?
I know.
No!
I know, it's like a sin. Yeah. But I still need my dark chocolate, I don't care. So, if you happen to have a situation where you like caffeine, it's not that you can't have it, you just need to regulate that you have it 6 hours cutoff time prior to sleep.
So for most people, that would be like the 2 to 3 range, sometimes 4 o'clock, but yeah, just make sure that you cut it off by that. Okay? So that was tip number 1 on limiting caffeine intake. All right? And our second tip. So tell me why you personally have to stop eating 2 to 3 hours before bed.
I have a lot of fidgeting issues.
Okay.
I tend to get into bed and kick my feet or tap my fingers and, kind of thrash a little bit and stuff like that. And I've also found it's certain foods. And you and I both have reacted to pork.
Right.
So it causes these really strange dreams. And they're not good and they're not bad. They're just not right.
Okay, so there's 2 things that set me off, and that's pork and NyQuil. And I actually will look forward to the dreams at night because they're so freaky with pork. But anyways, that's a side topic. That's a side topic. So this tip is no eating 2 to 3 hours before bedtime.
Yes.
Okay? And I know that it's something that she and I have struggled with in the past. I think that Gretchen and I have become very kind of disciplined towards that. Would you say that? I mean, I feel like we have.
Yeah, it's rare that I'll grab a little snack before bed anymore. I mean, sometimes if I just don't eat right throughout the day and right before bed and my stomach's going at it, I will eat a little bit, but it's very little. So I don't want a lot of calorie intake. I don't want my gut working at stuff when I'm trying to sleep. So I'll eat very little. Yeah.
So the whys on the no eating 2 to 3 hours before sleep. So number 1 on whys is digestion can actually cause you to overheat.
Yes, it really can.
And as you overheat, you can't be too hot while you sleep because then it doesn't let you sleep. The other one is, she already covered it, is digestion causes hyperactivity or fidgeting. And that's already an issue.
Yes. I don't sit still well.
Right.
I don't have ADD, by the way.
No.
I just don't sit still.
No. And then the other thing, the one that people really don't think about is, and it has to do a lot with willpower the next day, and that is they have found in clinical studies that an increased sugar intake right before bed or within hours of bed can actually cause a higher consumption of sugar the next day. Yeah, and what that is well, sugar, as we all know, causes a big addiction, and going to bed with the sugar in your system, I guess, when you wake up, causes a higher wanting for sugar the next day.
Now, would that include healthy sugars like in fruits?
I honestly don't have an answer to that. I just know that the study that I was reading on was more on sugar intake of sugary drinks. Okay, so the study was sugary drinks and sugary snacks right before bed, ice cream, stuff like that. It causes a higher consumption rate the next day.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that has a lot to do with willpower. Okay, so the tip on this one, on the no eating 2 to 3 hours before bed, what is the tip on this one?
You just don't want to do it. You don't want to eat 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed because you don't want to have to deal with heat, or like me, turning into a kung fu fighter. We don't need that either. We need our brain to be able to rest, and we don't need the digestion issues going on. We don't need to deal with sugar because that on itself, we all know, is a no-no.
Right.
And we don't want to have to deal with the after effects of the sugar the next day.
Right. Okay. All right. So moving on, the third tip. Now this one is a fun one. Okay. This tip is a fun one because there's actually two sides to the story on this one. And this tip is exercise, when to exercise, and why to exercise. All right. And you wanna cover this one a little bit?
Well, it's one that I feel a little guilty about.
Okay, why is that?
I am in the midst of trying to get myself in routine on my exercise.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I definitely appreciate when I do exercise. It really does make you feel better throughout the day. I have a walking partner, and we like to walk at least 2 miles in the morning prior to work. And we're not on it every day, but we do it every week. We try to get in at least 3 days a week, if not more. And with that, it helps you feel more clear in thought process. It helps you retain more. You've got your digestion system going, so you're just ready to take on the day. It just starts everything.
Makes you feel better when you exercise like that. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So that's a good why. Exercise is definitely good for your health, and they do, and studies do say that 3 times a week, at least 30 minutes a day, is a wonderful thing to do. However, there is a downside to exercise, and I'm not saying a downside to exercise doing it. I'm saying there's a bad time to do it. So now we're going to another level of exercise, okay? Where we were talking about a morning walk, okay? And let's include afternoon walk. Let's include a nice after work walk. Not going to hurt you, okay? It's intense exercise that we're talking about, whether it be a nice beautiful run, which I'm a runner, so I love running, or it be lifting weights, or something like aerobic that's good, that's really gets your cardio up, gets you sweating, gets you moving. That can actually cause you to lose sleep.
Yes.
Okay? So what studies have found, and what common knowledge has found, is that intense exercise should not be done 2 to 3 hours. And I don't know if you guys see this, but the range is always 2 to 3 hours, right? So exercise should not be done 2 to 3 hours before your bedtime.
Yes.
Okay? And the reason being is your heart rate is up, your digestion rate is up, and with that, your body heat is up.
Yes. I can say this too. When I was running, it was a situation for us being here in the desert. We would wait later and later in the evenings after work to run because it's so hot outside.
Right.
And having a gym membership, anybody who goes to a gym knows that when you go to the gym around 6 o'clock to about 8:30, it's packed. So if you're going to get a treadmill, good luck. So your situation had to be working around the temperature as well as the gym hours. It was just crazy. So it's either first thing in the morning or it wasn't at all. Because when we did do those late runs, I always felt hotter. Yes, you feel better for the fact that you're out and you're going and you're doing things, but you don't feel good when you try to lay down because things are still active. They're still going. which is why your body heat is still up, because you have your calorie burning going on. And for your system to actually go through that process where it can calm down and get ready for sleep too, we just don't contemplate that. We're just trying to work things into our schedule.
Right. So yeah, it's a note of caution more on this one than anything. The note of caution is just make sure that when you do exercise that you are taking into account that your body does have to have an unwinding period before bed. So that way you're not going to bed super hot, you're not going to bed super, I want to say super awake, but you know that euphoric feeling that you get after a workout. You want to make sure that you've let that subside and that you're allowing proper rest time.
That's right.
Okay, so we're going to include a bonus tip because this is something that we need to remind everyone of because it's something that we take very seriously, and that is blue light exposure. And you are the pro in this, and you take it over because this is your baby.
Wow. I'm just kidding. Honestly, with blue light, you want to make sure that you don't reactivate your brain where it starts with activity levels and good stuff that is a natural reaction whenever you do have blue light.
Right.
Versus your body, again, can be telling you, I'm tired, I need to go to sleep. But if your brain's kicking, you're going to fight going to sleep, and you're going to fight staying asleep, and you're going to have to deal with the ramifications later because it takes a while for your brain to go back into that sleep mode, so you're actually depleting yourself of deep sleep.
Right.
So we have settings now, and I think it's pretty common. Every smartphone has a blue light setting. I know some people that turn it off permanently so they don't ever have to worry about it, but you can actually set it. So if you know you're going to be going to bed at a certain time, turn it off an hour before bedtime. That way you don't have to worry about going back through and wondering, did I just ruin my sleep because I checked an email or a text message at the last minute? So I've got mine set where I don't have to worry about it. It's set for a time, I think it was 8 o'clock at nighttime, and it doesn't come back on until 7 in the morning. And that just okays the factor of my times that I know I'll be asleep, where it's not going to be an issue.
Right.
So, but it goes with computers, TVs, anything. So you just have to be very aware of your nighttime rituals, letting your brain have that time to prepare itself for sleep as well.
Okay, yeah. And one thing that we found when we were researching the blue light and everything, Windows actually has a setting on there for night mode. And I know that Apple and Android phones have a blue light filter as well.
Yeah.
If your phone is older to not have a blue light filter, you can actually download an app that is a blue light filter.
Very nice.
So a lot of different things. So that pretty much concludes today's 3 tips that you can do today that will help you sleep better tonight. And we would love to hear if you've took these 3 tips and if it made a difference in your sleep tonight.
Yes.
All right.
Give us some feedback. We don't mind it. Just remember, if you want that nice deep sleep, you're going to do what you got to do.
Yep.
If any one of these tips helps you, we would love to hear about it, just like Javi said.
Yep.
Because it lets us know that we're talking about something that is helping you, which is our goal.
Yep. And remember, when you sleep well,
you live well.
Have a wonderful day.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much for joining us today, and we would love to hear back from you. If you liked our talk today, yesterday, day before, any of them, please subscribe to our channel and let us know what you think.